War has been a defining feature of human history, shaping nations, cultures, and the very course of the world. We're all familiar with the iconic battles that changed the course of history: Waterloo, Gettysburg, D-Day. But not all important battles make it into the mainstream history books. In fact, many have been forgotten, overshadowed, or even deliberately erased. These untold war stories are often the ones that had a huge impact, but remain largely under the radar. Today, we're going to explore 10 untold war stories, battles that history tried to erase or downplay. These lesser-known yet significant events have shaped the world in ways you might not expect. Buckle up as we uncover some of the most fascinating, forgotten conflicts of the past. By the end of this video, you'll have a new understanding of the hidden moments that shaped history. 10. The Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, 9 AD. In 9 AD, an army of Germanic tribes led by Arminius, a former Roman ally, dealt a devastating blow to the Roman Empire in what would later be known as the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest. This clash was a pivotal moment in Roman history, yet it's often overlooked today. The Romans, led by General Varus, were marching through the dense forests of Germania when Arminius orchestrated an ambush that destroyed 3 Roman legions. This defeat was catastrophic for Rome. Over 20,000 Roman soldiers were killed in one of the empire's greatest military disasters. The impact was so severe that it halted Roman expansion into Germania and changed the course of Roman history. The loss was so significant that Emperor Augustus never recovered from it emotionally and considered it a turning point in Rome's imperial ambitions. Yet, despite its magnitude, the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest is often relegated to the back pages of history books. 9. The Battle of Caransebes, 1788. Now here's a bizarre one that even the most seasoned history buffs may not have heard of. The Battle of Caransebes, fought during the Austro-Turkish War in 1788, wasn't exactly a battle between 2 armies. It's better described as a military blunder that spiraled into chaos. Austrian soldiers were camped near the town of Caransebes, trying to purchase alcohol from local vendors when a misunderstanding led to a fight among different regiments. In the confusion, shots were fired, and soon Austrian soldiers were attacking each other in what can only be described as a total disaster. Over 10,000 Austrian soldiers were killed, many from friendly fire, while they were trying to flee or fight off the confusion. Incredibly, the Ottomans, the supposed enemy, didn't even need to intervene. They found nothing but disorder. Though no real battle with the Ottomans occurred, the event became one of the most embarrassing military disasters in European history. 8. The Battle of Isandlwana, 1879. The Battle of Isandlwana in 1879 is a lesser-known but crucial moment during the Anglo-Zulu War. The British Empire, already accustomed to dominating large portions of Africa, thought they could easily crush the Zulu kingdom, but they underestimated the Zulu army's military prowess. On January 22nd, the British Army, led by Lord Chelmsford, faced off against a much larger Zulu force, numbering over 20,000. The British forces, while technologically superior, were caught off guard by the Zulus' speed, tactics, and strategic use of the terrain. The British were decisively defeated, with over 1,300 soldiers killed. The Zulus suffered about 1,000 casualties, but inflicted a significant blow to British pride. Although the British eventually won the war, the Battle of Isandlwana marked a crucial moment of resistance that is often overshadowed by the larger narrative of British imperialism. 7. The Battle of Tsushima, 1905. The Battle of Tsushima during the Russo-Japanese War was one of the most decisive naval engagements of the 20th century. In May 1905, Japan faced off against Russia, whose fleet had sailed all the way from the Baltic Sea to engage the Japanese Navy. In a stunning display of naval strategy, the Japanese fleet utterly destroyed the Russian Navy in the Tsushima Strait. This battle was a turning point in the balance of power in East Asia. Japan's victory established it as a major imperial power, and it shocked the world, proving that an Asian nation could defeat a European one. However, despite its importance, the Battle of Tsushima is often overlooked in favor of more famous naval battles, such as those in World War II. This battle marked the start of Japan's rise as a modern power, and is a moment that's often lost in global narratives of imperial history. 6. The Battle of Adrianople, 378 AD. Roman Emperor Valens faced off against the Gothic tribes at Adrianople in present-day Turkey. Valens, eager to defeat the Goths, underestimated their fighting capabilities and was unprepared for the size and scale of the Gothic army. The result was a catastrophic defeat. Over 20,000 Roman soldiers were killed, and the emperor himself perished in the battle. This loss exposed the weakness of the Roman military and foreshadowed the decline of the Western Roman Empire. While historians often focus on the fall of Rome in 476 AD, the Battle of Adrianople was arguably the real beginning of the empire's decline, yet it's largely ignored in discussions about the end of Rome. 5. The Battle of Bunker Hill, 1775. The Battle of Bunker Hill, fought during the American Revolutionary War, is widely known in the US, but it is often forgotten in the broader context of global history. On June 17, 1775, American colonial forces fortified Bunker Hill in an effort to defend against British forces in Boston. While the British ultimately captured the hill, the battle proved that the American forces were capable of standing up to the British army. The British suffered more than 1,000 casualties, a significant toll in what was initially thought to be a relatively minor engagement. The Battle of Bunker Hill did not change the outcome of the war immediately, but it was a crucial morale booster for the American rebels. Despite its early significance, the battle is often overshadowed by later, more pivotal moments, like the signing of the Declaration of Independence or the Battle of Saratoga. 4. The Battle of Cameron, 1863. The Battle of Cameron, fought during the Franco-Mexican War, remains a symbol of courage and self-sacrifice. In 1863, a small contingent of French Foreign Legionnaires, numbering only 65 men, found themselves surrounded by an overwhelming Mexican force of 2,000 soldiers. Despite the odds, the Legionnaires held their ground, fighting with determination and refusing to surrender. The French soldiers were ultimately overwhelmed, but they became legends within the French Foreign Legion for their bravery. The Mexican forces, recognizing their valor, treated the surviving Legionnaires with respect. The Battle of Cameron is a defining moment in the history of the French Foreign Legion, but it's often overshadowed by larger conflicts in French military history, even though it remains one of the most celebrated acts of military heroism. 3. The Battle of Cannae, 216 BC. One of the most remarkable and tactically brilliant battles in history, the Battle of Cannae, took place during the Second Punic War. Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca, who had already gained a reputation for his brilliant strategies, faced off against the Roman legions in 216 BC. Hannibal's army was vastly outnumbered, but his use of the double envelopment tactic, the surrounding of the Roman forces, decimated the Roman army, killing between 50,000 and 70,000 soldiers. The Battle of Cannae is considered one of the greatest military victories in history, yet it's often overshadowed by other famous battles in history. The aftermath of Cannae left the Roman Republic in shock, and for a time it looked as though the Carthaginians might win the war. Despite its brilliance, Cannae is rarely discussed outside military history circles. 2. The Battle of Moscow, 1812. Napoleon's disastrous Russian campaign of 1812 is often summarized by his eventual defeat at the Battle of Leipzig, or his final loss at Waterloo. But the Battle of Moscow, fought in September 1812, was arguably the pivotal moment in Napoleon's downfall. After months of advancing through Russia, Napoleon's army finally reached Moscow, only to find the city abandoned and set on fire by the retreating Russians. With no shelter and dwindling supplies, Napoleon's Grand Army was forced to retreat. The Russian winter, combined with Russian scorched earth tactics, decimated his forces. This battle, while not as famous as Waterloo, marked the beginning of the end for Napoleon's empire. The Battle of Moscow's importance is often overshadowed by Napoleon's more well-known defeats, but it was here that his military genius truly faltered. 1. The Battle of Nanjing, 1937. The Battle of Nanjing, also known as the Nanjing Massacre, took place during the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937. After the Japanese captured Nanjing, the capital of China, they committed a series of horrific atrocities against the civilian population. Over the course of several weeks, Japanese forces murdered an estimated 300,000 Chinese civilians and prisoners of war. This battle and its aftermath remain one of the darkest and least discussed chapters of World War II. While the Nanjing Massacre is widely known in China, it is often downplayed or ignored in Western accounts of the war. The brutality of the Japanese occupation and the sheer scale of the violence make the Battle of Nanjing one of the most significant but forgotten events of the 20th century. So there you have it, 10 untold war stories that history tried to erase. These battles might not be in the textbooks, but they had a profound impact on the world we live in today. History has a way of burying the past, but it's important to bring these forgotten moments back into the light. If you found these stories fascinating, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to keep uncovering the hidden chapters of history. Let me know in the comments if you know of any other forgotten battles or events that should have made the list. Thanks for watching, and remember, the past is always worth revisiting.